Hi, this is Avery. It is March 10th, 2020. I'm going to go over my two trades today, one on Novn and the other on Bngo. So first things first, on Novn, I had a couple, this popped up after hours. Did some fundamental research on it, liked what I saw. Doesn't have a ton of gap and fade type of daily chart, except yesterday we had a run up in after hours, which I liked. And like I said before, I liked the fundamental side. So originally, early in pre-market, I went to a high of 115 around like 6 or 6:30 a.m. Eastern. Came down, and I was really hoping. Originally, my plan or my hopes were that it would open up somewhere around between 80 and 90 cents, would push over $1, and I could short somewhere between $1 and $1.15, risking over the highs. I didn't get that. We got a big gap down, and then I just kind of had it on the side of my screen, except I wasn't really paying attention to it. Just wanted to see if we could get over $1. Ended up pushing over $1, and then I started getting interested. Located some shares. It was weird. A bunch of my fills on this were super funky. I don't know what was even happening. So on this push right here, I put in an order at 102. Got accepted, then it went to 103, then came back down, and I didn't fill. So that was just super weird, and I put the order out at the start of this minute, so I was kind of frustrated. Originally, my plan was to scale between $1 and 115. Then once we got this, it was looking pretty weak how we pushed up on decent volume, but then just this one candle just had a ton of selling. So once we got a pop back over 1, I was pretty just eager to get in because with trade zero, I can't short anything under $1. So put on a starter here, and then we push up, or about one third of my size that I wanted to get on, and we push up and we make the new highs. And then unfortunately, one thing I didn't realize here is the volume was much lower. So originally I was thinking, I was like, okay, and then I was right about to put on another piece at about 110, 109. Didn't get there, we stuff, which isn't surprising. We weren't pushing on significant volume. And then we just get the sell-off candle. Again, here some orders are weird. I tried to slam, the bids were 102. Tried to slam them, missed it. Tried to slam again at 1, missed it again. And I just didn't have any chance to get on more size than other than that. So originally my profit target was right down here at this low of 73, I believe it was. Yeah, low of 73. Right here actually, I was noticing kind of just some stalling and stuff. So right here, I tried to take half off, and then like the second I put the order in, it spiked on me. So I said, okay, I'm not going to chase at all. Then we kind of pushed up. We actually reclaimed VWAP, which I wasn't a fan of. But at the same time, at this point, when we reclaimed VWAP, I was almost hoping that we'd push back over 1 so I could add my other 2/3 on and then risk over the highs. Then come back down right before the open, and then on this wash, it was just right at this low right here. I took off half, and then like I said, my original profit target was 75, and then right at the open, kind of whipsaw. It went up and went down, and then on the way back down, I just saw where it was soaking on the tape, went a tiny bit higher. One thing that's nice about these sub $1 stocks is you can step in front of people by like a tenth or a couple tenths of a penny. That's what I did. Got filled, which was nice, and then I just didn't have any opportunity to get back in since it was below $1. Hit my profit target. This is kind of it's not abnormal. We see it sometimes, but if I try to go for a 50% winner all the time, I'm I'm just gonna get stopped out a lot. Second one, Bngo. This one, so at the time I was in my Novn trade, so I was a bit hesitant to get in this one, to be honest, and so I wasn't too aggressive with the size on it. We popped up, and then also my stats for my pre-market trades, I do the best between 7 and 8 a.m. So coming in past 8 a.m., I'm just going to be using less size than I would be in the first hour of pre-market. So this was my criteria. I didn't end up doing. I did some just to see the shares outstanding. I stepped into too much digging in the filings at all, just because I've traded this one a bunch and I know how it is. So we pop up, hit my criteria. Then once we get this stuff here and a lower high, I short 119, short 119 with about half 50% dollar risk, just because I was already in the other position. The last trade zero has been freezing a lot, which has been pretty horrible. So I just had a bad feeling. The worst thing in the world would be trying to cover two positions in pre-market for my phone when there's no hard stops. So just patiently waiting. The risk was the highs, and my profit target was around $1. I just want to see how it would react. And so we come down, just grind down slowly. On this initial dump here, we got some volume exhaustion. I had my order at 103 to cover, missed it by a penny, which was fine again. And then here, once we started getting to pop back up into some of these resistance areas, just in the support resistance zone, I was looking to add. Once I saw a little bit of a stall, put an order out. Didn't double up, almost doubled up my size pretty much. And then my risk then was I almost had double the size. I was going to trim half off above 116. My average at the time was 117, I believe. So I was going to trim off above 116 and then risk my second half off the highs, which is just my original shares. So basically this piece I was risking over VWAP. First piece, same risk. Then we get this washed down. I just cover a penny before the lows here. Get filled 104. And then we break this low here. The low rate here was 103. And we go down to 102. We don't really see any continuation, so I said, okay. This cover was 2/5 of my position. Then I covered another 2/5 of my position. And then on this final wash, just noticed a bunch of soaking. So I took off my last fifth. And that was a pretty nice trade. Novn was about it was exactly 21% winner, and this one was about 14%. So overall good risk reward. Novn ended up being about a 3.5 to 1 risk reward, and then this one, my initial position, it was a 3 to 1 risk reward, and my second piece was about a 2 to 1. So overall good. A couple things on Bngo. There's definitely some more potential to reattack. I was just a bit hesitant because I was wanting to risk off the high. So if I'm shorting 112, risking 125, 130 with slippage, so it's not the best risk reward. And again, this is just an abnormally large fade. I can't be expecting this to be going 45 or whatever percent down from my entry price. So again, I took the move that I know, and yeah, that's what I'm happy about. And actually, I'm going to go over yesterday's trades. I just traded Spex yesterday. So first, on Spex, popped up pre-market yesterday, and it gapped up from after hours. So similar to APT and Codex last week, I was thinking that since we got a big gap up, there was going to be at around 7 a.m. There was going to be a bit of a squeeze pre-market from all the shorts covering their positions. That's exactly what we got. Originally, my plan was to short sometime in the first 1 minute, around 7:01 on the initial push, going anywhere between 3 and 350. There was a pre-market resistance from 320 and 350 from earlier pre-market. Except then the spread was like 40 cents, so I kind of just got a bit sketched out. Then on this, unfortunate in hindsight, but it was waited for a bit more confirmation, which I don't regret at all. So on this second push right up here to 3, when it started stalling, I was looking to short, and then I just missed it by a couple seconds, which is fine. Waited to short the pop. Shorted the pop. Let's see here, as you can see. So put my first starter, or put about half on, doubled up, and then my plan was I planned, worst case scenario, my planned risk was to stop out above 3 with my shares, and that would have been max dollar risk. But ideally, in a perfect world, what I would have done if I would have been able to get filled is I would have trimmed half above 295 because I felt the bounce top was in, and that was 290. So I wanted to cut half above 295 and then risk the rest off the highs of 310. We get a wash down. I cover 1/4 at the lows, or at the previous support. And then once I notice a bunch of soaking, I know I cover another quarter. With this one, my fader expectations were quite low because the sector was just a bit weird. There's lots of weird market stuff going on, so I'm not going to be trying to hold for a massive move. Then this part I'm not a huge fan of. So I was looking at chat, and to be honest, since I was up like 20 cents or whatever, just to try to help my patience, I was just kind of ignoring it. Just looking at main chat and stuff, reading a bunch, and I turn my head over and I see it right back up to my average at 280. And I was looking at the tape, and the tape definitely shifted. We got a big volume candle come in, and I actually thought there was a PR that came out just because it was such a sudden bounce. Even though sometimes these will do this, it'll make a couple new lows and then just bounce quite strongly. So overall, it was just stupid. I just kind of panicked out, and with the plan to immediately put my size back on if just once I double checked there wasn't a PR. So I covered. My average was my first short half size was 287, and my second 50% was at 285, so my average was 286, and I covered at 284. The top of that thing was 285, so basically top ticked it. Then so I covered, so that was only 50% of my position. So overall on this, I still made about 15 cents a share average on full size. Then I immediately slammed back full size at 280. I just slammed the bids just because I felt like once we stalled. So I slammed the bids at 280, risking over this high at 285. So nice tight risk. Immediately covered half at 271. So 9 cents a share on that second piece, just because I wasn't a huge fan of the action and there wasn't a ton of dumping volume coming in. And this is somewhat of a mistake. I didn't realize, so the low here I think was 268. And I thought it was like 265, so I covered at 266 here. Meanwhile, it just broke support. So that kind of sucks. It is what it is though. And then on this, so then I had 1/4 left after, so covered half here, covered 1/4 here, and then we just dumped. And I was thinking about shorter bounce here, but since I only had 1/4 left, I didn't want to throw in more size just because my average would have got really messed up. And then I just covered into the volume exhaustion, and I told Josh that I thought mid 240s was my profit target, so I covered at 248. So first trade risk reward ended up being about 1-to-1, just with the second shitty cover there. Originally though, the first half it was 3-to-1, and then this one ended up being, I think my average, I think I ended up getting like 20. Something like 15 or 20 cents on it, which was nice. So it ended up being a 3.5-to-1 risk reward. And then the next one is, this one's just kind of annoying. Just learn your process. So I actually long this, and I just panicked out. It was really stupid. I bought, and then it kind of started uptaking a little bit, and it came back down and just panicked out and sold for a 9-cent loss on, it was literally just 100 shares just to practice, just because there was a ton of volume that came in. And I just wanted to try to long over the 100 shares to see what, so basically just puked into support, is what it is. Part of it, I think, is like just afraid to lose on longs because my conviction is like really, really low, even with 100 shares. Yeah, so just took some notes and making sure I'm not going to do that again. But overall, still nicely green on the day. Didn't affect my P&L at all since it was such small size. So that's it this week. I've just been really trying to focus on my niche and haven't even traded a stock intraday, I don't think yet, except for covers intraday. So yeah, just really sticking to what I know and just kind of staying safe. Thanks. That's it.